I'm going to hang up this phone, and then I'm going to show these people
what you don't want them to see.
They say the world's a globe, but the evidence doesn't cut it. They just give us cartoon pictures and everyone seems to love it. But the earth's a level plane, whether or not you want it. Take a look and do your research, I bet that you can't debunk it. 23 billion bucks, that's a hell of a fucking budget. Just to lie to everyone and successfully fool the public. If you wanna break away from your destiny as a puppet and research flat earth, but don't be upset when you can't debunk it. They really can't prove their theories. Come and get on my level. Something's fishy, these fools are shifty. Come and get on my level. They can't trick me, their lies are silly. Come and get on my level. It's a pity they treat us shitty. Come and get on my level. Hurry quickly, we must get busy. Come and get on my level. Yeah, it's risky, but just stick with me. Come and get on my level. Can you hear me? Please don't be dreary. Come and get on my level. Don't be gimpy, you people really need to get on my level.
Cannot do better than this. This is Mother Nature.
Flat horizon.
It is a fact, not a theory, that bodies of water always seek and find their own level. From a pond, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water is to find and remain level.
The science of water is it's always level. The earth is 70% water. We should be able to find curvature in the ocean. On land, land is uneven. You really can't, it's unpredictable land. You really can't measure curve correctly. Water is level. That's the science of water. Everyone's talking about science. The only thing that keeps the ball earth theory together is gravity. That's the only thing. But gravity's never been proven. Gravity's like, oh, gravity's been proven, look. Gravity. No. Gravity. Like you pick something up with gravity. No. Try doing that to a helium balloon. Then what? What is that? Helium balloon, an anti-gravity spaceship. What about a helium balloon? You can't explain that, can you? Why doesn't that drop? You drop the mic because the mic falls because it's more dense than the medium that surrounds it. Helium balloon is less dense, so it goes up. Anything that's less dense than the medium that surrounds it goes up. Anything that's more dense goes down. You drop a rock that you could fit in the palm of your hand, you drop it in the ocean, what happens? It sinks. You drop a ball, a tennis ball, what happens? It floats. It floats. It's right there in between the air and the water because it's more dense than the air, but the air that's inside the ball is less dense than the water, so it's right there in the middle. It doesn't sink. What is that? There's a force strong enough to keep the ocean stuck to it, but it's not strong enough. It's not strong enough to affect a helium balloon or smoke or birds. Birds can do. If there was a force strong enough that kept oceans attached to it, we would be stuck to the fucking ground. We would be stuck to the ground. Come on, man. Come on. It's really simple. Things fall because they're more dense than the medium around it. They rise because they're less dense. Helium balloon, explain that. Explain that. Can't explain it. You just, gravity. Gravity. I can, in any country, in any city, I can prove to you that water will always find its level. I could just take a bottle of water and I could prove. But no one could ever prove that a ball can, water that can stick to the exterior of an object. Water conforms to the interior of an object. It doesn't conform to the exterior. You can't.
Have we ever recreated gravity in science?
Neil deGrasse Tyson. He'll even tell you. He's like there's a famous video. He goes, "Well, when you talk about gravity, we don't know."
What is gravity?
You have no idea. Okay, next question.
Wow.
No, here's the difference. We can describe gravity. Okay. We can say what it does to other things. We can measure it, predict with it. But when you start asking, like, what it is, I don't know.
The science of water is it's always level. The earth is 70% water. We should be able to find curvature in the ocean. On land, land is uneven. You really can't, it's unpredictable land. You really can't measure curve correctly. But in the ocean, we're 75% water. There should be, if the water is curved, it curves at a certain consistent rate. And they've already figured that out. They figured it out. If we're on a ball that's 25,000 miles in circumference, that's what they say. That's what school will tell you. That's what the textbooks tell you. We're a ball that's 25,000 miles in circumference. At that size, the ball should curve at a rate of 8 inches per mile squared, not 8/16. It's 8 and then 32. At that rate, no one disputes that. All the people battling, there's people that battle flat earth. There's just all these battles going on. There's battles everywhere on YouTube. They all know the formula. And with that formula, at 100 miles in the ocean, there should be 6,600 feet of curvature. But how do Navy ships target other ships 100 miles away? How do they do that? They take pictures. They have a laser that targets other ships 100 miles away. It's impossible. Water is level. That's the science of water. Everyone's talking about science. It's flat. It's flat. It's the craziest thing ever. Flat Earth is the craziest thing, but guess what, dude? It's fucking flat, dude. And everyone is gonna find out eventually. No one ever gets into flat Earth and then turns back. You don't. It's like Santa Claus. When you find out Santa Claus isn't real, people don't go back and say, you know what, I'm starting to believe in Santa Claus again. No, it's the same fucking thing, dude. Water is level. That's the science of water. Everyone's talking about science. Water is level. That's the science of water. Everyone's talking about science. Water is level.
It is a fact, not a theory, that bodies of water always seek and find their own level. From a pond, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water is to find and remain level. It is a fact that the majority of Earth is covered in such level water, thus making it an unscientific theory to postulate that Earth is actually a gigantic sphere with bendy oceans curving all the way around it. It is an unproven, unscientific theory with no observable, measurable, or repeatable evidence to claim that bodies of water can somehow bend, cling to the exterior of shapes, and show convexity upon their surface. It is a fact, not a theory, that we are able to observe objects at incredibly long distances, far beyond what would be possible if Earth were a globe 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. For example, it is a fact that in Genoa, Italy, from just above sea level, it is possible to see the distant islands of Elba, Caprea, and Corsica 80 to 125 miles away. It is a necessary theory that the globe Earth must curve 8 inches per mile squared if it really be a ball 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. But based on such a theory, these islands would all be completely hidden behind thousands of feet of curved Earth.
JayDreamerZ, this is not a mirror, it's a glass of water. Why am I showing you a glass of water? Because this is one of the breadcrumbs that proves that the Earth is a plane. You see, if you fill up a glass of water to the top, you can tell it's perfectly flat. As a matter of fact, you know it's perfectly flat because of the perfect mirror-like reflection that you get from it. If there's any distortion whatsoever in the reflection, that means that there's a distortion or a curving in the water. But if it's a perfect reflection, that means the water is perfectly level. Now, water always finds its level. It always finds its level. And whenever we say water always finds its level, what we mean is it's always flat on the top. Now, if you can do this test at home, you can pour yourself a nice glass of water and you can see that it flattens out on the top. And then you can take it to another extreme and you can fill your bathtub. And when the bathtub is full, you can see that it finds its level. It's flat on top. can go to a nice, still swimming pool. You can see that the water's flat on top. You can go to your local pond or lake and you can see that, sure enough, that water is flat on the top. Now, some people might be able to look at the glass of water and I might say, hey, is it flat on top? And they'd say, yeah, of course it's flat on top. And I'd say, okay, what about the bathtub? Is it flat on top? And they say, yeah. Well, what about the pond? Or the swimming pool? Or the lake? And they'll go, yeah, it's flat. It's perfectly flat on top. I agree, water finds its level. But then, whenever you ask them, is the ocean flat? That's whenever the gears, it's like a wrench is thrown into the system because their subconscious realizes, uh-oh, I've just been caught. Now I have to come to terms with something, because if the oceans are flat, if the oceans and those giant bodies of water follow suit with the smaller versions, that must mean that the oceans are flat. And if the world, as I know it, is mostly covered in ocean, that means that the world, as I know it, at the very least, must be mostly flat. So, what I found is that people start backtracking when you get to the oceans. They go, oh, no, the oceans are definitely curved. They're not flat whatsoever because of the ball. And then you go, well, what happened to the lakes? Well, yeah, there's probably some curvature to the lakes as well. Well, what about the swimming pool? It's probably real small, but yeah, there's probably some curvature there too. All right, what about this glass of water? That is perfectly flat. Now, if this is flat, it stands to reason that it doesn't matter what the size is, it's going to stay flat and constant the bigger and bigger it gets. Just because it gets bigger and bigger doesn't mean all of a sudden it starts to be able to have magical properties to conform to the sides of a rounded surface. Water doesn't do that. Water remains and stays flat all the time. So anyways, this is just a simple breadcrumb. As you can see, if it's a flat surface, it gives you a perfect mirrored reflection. That's how you know you're living on a flat world.
It is part of the natural physics of water and other fluids to always find their level and remain flat. If disturbed in any way, motion ensues until the flat level is resumed. If dammed up then released, the nature of all liquids is to quickly flood outwards, taking the easiest course towards finding its new level. From W.T. Lynn's First Principles of Natural Philosophy, the upper surface of a fluid at rest is a horizontal plane, because if a part of the surface were higher than the rest, those parts of the fluid which were under it would exert a greater pressure upon the surrounding parts than they receive from them, so that motion would take place amongst the particles and continue until there were none at a higher level than the rest, that is, until the upper surface of the whole mass of fluid became a horizontal plane. If the Earth is an extended flat plane, then this fundamental physical property of fluids finding and remaining level is consistent with experience and common sense. If, however, the Earth is a giant sphere tilted on its vertical axis, spinning through never-ending space, then it follows that truly flat, consistently level surfaces do not exist here. Moreover, if the Earth is spherical, then it follows that the surface of all Earth's water, including the massive oceans, must maintain a certain degree of convexity. But this is contrary to the fundamental physical nature of water to always be and remain level.
Water is level.
My face above the water. My feet can't touch the ground, and it feels like I can see the sands on the horizon every time you are not around. I'm slowly drifting away, wave after wave, wave after wave. I'm slowly drifting, and it feels like I'm drowning, pulling against the stream, pulling against the wave. Wave after wave, wave after wave, I'm slowly drifting. My face above the water. My feet can't touch the ground, and it feels like I can see the sands on the horizon every time you are not around. I'm slowly drifting away. Wave after wave, wave after wave, I'm slowly drifting, and it feels like I'm drowning, pulling against the stream, pulling against the.
Water is level. That's the science of water. When we're talking about science,